2, 1. Good evening. It's Dwayne Richards and maybe Gordon So on here soon, but not in person. I have Suzan Hart, and welcome to Comm Cafe. It's Comm Cafe Facebook Live edition. With me tonight is Suzan Hart. She is a speaker, coach, and author. Surprise, surprise, I have an author on Comm Cafe with me tonight. She's the author of Leading with Character. Suzan has been a seven-figure earner with in the network marketing space. I met her at a Peak Potentials. It's funny because she lives here just outside of Toronto, and I had to go all the way to LA at a Peak Potentials Life Direction event to actually meet her the first time. And now here she is on Comm Cafe just after Robert Riopeld was here last week. So that's right, people. I am getting some fantastic, awesome guests. And how do I do it? I just ask. I ask and I invite them to come on, and they say yes. So good evening, Suzan. Welcome to Comm Cafe. Thank you so much for stopping by tonight.
Good evening, Dwayne. How are you? I get to follow Robert Riopel. How cool is that?
You know what's even more cool is Robert was on with me, and 6 days later, he was on interviewing Les Brown. Actually, Les Brown was interviewing him. So I got to interview Robert Riopeld on Be Live before Les Brown did. Isn't that awesome?
That is awesome. And full circle, I just spoke to Les Brown the other day. So
how
cool is that?
That makes sense. That's really good. That's proud. And again, we're not saying, again, it's the common thing. It's like we're not saying to impress people by this. It's just a press up, introduce it to let people know that Les Brown isn't that far removed from anyone. Like people our mentors, the people that we look up to, the people that inspire us and motivate us, aren't that far removed from being interviewed by you if you have your own podcast. And that's two of the things we talk about is by having a podcast or having a TV show, you actually have a property to invite people on. So, okay, let's jump right into it maybe tonight. And Gordon's on, of course, trying to share. Okay, Gordon, thank you for the reminder. I'm going to throw it to Suzan here, and she's going to start to talk a little bit about what is leading with character, or maybe you want to start with the book, or do you want to start a little bit about your, like, who you are and how you got to where you are? What do you want? The short story of Suzan Hart, or jump right into the book about leading with character? Maybe they're one and the same.
Well, they are kind of one and the same. My background is family, individual, and group counseling. I'm a crisis counselor by training with over, 16, 17 years of experience. When this chapter of my life begins, I am living in Toronto, managing one of the largest drop-ins in the downtown core of the city of Toronto, and really working for an extraordinary woman by the name of Angela Robertson and loving what I do. And it's interesting because when you do the type of work that we did, so we worked with women who are marginalized, women who are living on the street, women who have addictions issues and are still using, and women who have mental health issues and are not necessarily medicating. And we had a full service, no barrier to access place that women would come to. And it totally changed the way I looked at so many things. However, while I was on that journey, the stress of that intense work began to take a toll on my health. And how it showed up for me was it didn't matter how much I slept. I never woke up feeling rested or recovered. I began to lose my lean muscle mass, so I began to lose weight. I began to feel mental fog and a lack of clarity. And truly what it was my body was going through a lot of stress. My body had a lot of things going on. On top of that, on the home front, we were $50,000 upside down in credit card debt. At one point had a lien on our house, really juggling a marriage that's failing and boys that are getting ready to go to last year, the high school, college. And I would lay in bed and go, what the heck? Total suffering in silence, praying for an answer. And I think the thing, Dwayne, that really struck me was I thought I'd done it right. I have 7 years of post-secondary education. I went to work in my field. I climbed the proverbial ladder. And here I was, at the end of each month, there was more month left than I had money. and frustrated, angry, ashamed, and totally suffering in silence. So my entry into network marketing was by a good friend by the name of Suzan Hart. She gave me a call and told me that we were going to start building this company that was going to change the quality of our life. And, you know, me being who I was, a little prideful, I said no. I truly did. And I said, you know, no. And luckily for me, I was blessed that she kept calling. And there began my journey in network marketing, because I finally said yes. Tried a product that totally changed the quality of my health, sent me on an upward trajectory as far as health and wellness goes. And I have never looked back in terms of how I feel and how I, you know, my overall fitness. And as I began to use the products, of course, a business emerged because I was looking better, I was feeling better, and people began to ask me what was going on. So I dove fully into network marketing, got very excited about it, proud to say I'm a professional network marketer. But that journey, Dwayne, from employee to what you would call entrepreneur, from employee to full-time network marketer, was a journey. And the book Leading with Character comes out of who I was required to become in order to have the success I was looking for. And for me, what I began to realize is that although I had great skills, and although I had transferable experiences and skill sets, what was interesting was the integrity of who I was in terms of me being my word in the world was not where I thought it would be. And so there was things, habits that I needed to adopt, habits that I needed to gain, habits that I needed to step into that would have me become the person that would actually be her word and be a great leader to other people. And what I realized is leadership in the sense, in the context of network marketing, where you don't have a paycheck to leverage, where you don't have different things to leverage, it is inspired leadership. That means you become the example of that which you want people to see, follow, and embody. So it demanded a shift in who I was in the world. It demanded an expansion of my character. It demanded that I become a different person. Hence, the book reflects my journey of really developing the leadership and the style of leadership that I wanted to represent and reflect, and would also serve me in a field called network marketing, where people come with a dream, some inspiration, and they are required to act sometimes without a context that they totally understand. So, hence the book.
Okay. That's good. Quick question related to that. I have feedback on mine. We'll fix that. What's your advice when people are going from that job? So getting a consistent regular paycheck, even if it's not that big of a network marketing where there's not a steady paycheck. How do you shift that? What's your quick tip for that? That's a change of mindset. To say, okay, now I don't have, and not everyone is comfortable with that right away. It's to say, how do I go from a regular paycheck, but at least it's a regular paycheck, to that network marketing model where you get paid, but it can go up. It can definitely go up and down.
Well, oftentimes when people look at network marketing, they think, okay, I'm just going to stop what I'm doing. I'm going to go full time, and I'm going to constantly make some income. And if for many of us, for me in particular, it's a 5 to 10 year plan, right? So I started part time, and in starting part time, what I did was I put aside 10 to 15 hours a week where I began to work my network marketing business. And I will be quite candid with you. If I had gone full time, I would not have known what to do with my time. And that's often what people experience is, what do I do with my time? So I started part-time, and I was able to fill that time with the right activities. And the clearer I got on what I needed to do, as I developed my skills, as I developed the structure, and I think as I developed a mindset that had me understand that when I step into this arena of entrepreneurship or being employed for myself, was that there was no one that was going to give me a structure that said I need this by this date. This is your deadline. This is when this needs to be done. That all had to come from me. So to learn that structure, and to begin to have the discipline, the mastery to say, I'm going to do this by this time. I'm going to do these activities in this time frame. That takes time. And I think a lot of people think, well, I'm self-employed, I own my time, and they don't have a scheduling, they don't do different things. And that's the biggest mistake. When I stepped out of being employed by someone else and I started working for myself, I still got up at 6. I still, acted like I was employed by myself, but I still did many of the activities and used many of the structure that I did when I was working. Why? Because it was a business. It was my business. So it wasn't like, oh, well, I'll just do it when I want to, I'm free. And I think for many people, they're like, oh, well, I'll just do it in the pockets of my life. I'll do it in my free time. And oftentimes that doesn't happen. So for me, the biggest tip is that, whatever structure that has you go to work, you want to transfer a good part of that structure into your world and continue to have that structure of when do you get up, what do you do each day, all those different things. So that would be my number one tip. And then master the skills of your new profession. Every profession has skills, master them.
Okay. I like that a lot. And it's and it is that piece about leadership and again, going into network marketing, finding that mentor, finding the leadership, and someone says, well, how do you pick a downline to join? It's like, well, you guess you're creating you're following a downline to join, but you're also creating the downline for someone else. So it's to be also not just look for a leader, but to develop that leadership skill, to be the leader for other people. It's not a free ride. Network marketing is not a free ride because you joined a good organization or you joined a group with a good downline. All right. Maybe obviously you wrote the book. Is there a quick is a little excerpt of the book? So I have the book here. Look at that. Leading with Character. Is there a little, should I like pull to a random page and just, we can talk about, desire and energy, number 4, passion, desire and energy.
Why don't you go to one of my favorites? And I think because it serves is integrity.
Oh, I like integrity. Who doesn't like integrity? But there, it's easy to say that. But like I said, we do some stuff around personality types, and I think it's important to understand the different. Everyone has their own set of values. Mm-hmm. Number 11, integrity, honesty plus guiding principles times time.
Yes. So for me, the quickest way to sum up integrity is to be your words, right? Your words. So it's an honesty with self and an honesty with others. And it's also the values and principles that guide your life and consistently applying them over time, right? And that creates your integrity. So in other words, integrity is being your word with yourself first. Right? Because that's where we begin to trust ourselves. Is if I know that when I say I'm going to do something and I'm able to do it when no one else is looking and be my word to myself, it actually creates my integrity with other people. It creates who I am and my ability to be my word with others. And so the reason I love integrity, it's foundational for every other habit or value that we have, because it is your ability to follow through, to do what you say you're going to do. And if you aren't able to actually clean things up so that you are your word, right? I think the biggest thing I'll say about integrity is that it is not a constant. In other words, you're not always in integrity. When I wake up every morning, in my opinion, I wake up out of integrity. And when my feet hit the ground, I get to recreate integrity in different areas of my life. I get to create integrity around my workouts. Am I going to choose to be my word around my workouts? I get to recreate integrity around my nutrition, around my business, around all those different things. And it's the choosing to follow through on what you say you're going to do that recreates integrity day in, day out. And I think oftentimes people relate to it as I either have integrity or I don't. Well, every day you wake up out of integrity and you get to choose whether you're going to be your word each day. And I think it's the assumption that I am in integrity all the time that has people not present to the moments when they're not. So it is one of my favorite habits because it is one of the habits that creates who you are in the world. In other words, my name is Suzanne, and am I known as a person of integrity or am I not? Right? And therefore, my name is synonymous with the level of integrity that I have. So it's a fundamental one, particularly if you are stepping into business. It's a fundamental one, particularly if you're a parent and you have young children. It's a fundamental one in terms of, are you who you say you are in the world? So that's all she wrote.
Oh, I like that. I like that. No, I'm also learning to pause because, and this is a quick tip for people that if you haven't done Be Live before, that sometimes there is the delay. So and I'm working on it's a constant exercise of being a better interviewer. And it's just to have that and work it out with the guests too, to say, okay, when I've paused and I can, if I count to 4, then it's my turn to talk. So sometimes you get really good at it. You're just like, oh, I'm supposed to talk. I thought my guests just did all the talking. So, okay, I think we're having fun. Are you having fun? Hopefully I'm not boring. I know Suzanne's not boring, so I'll just keep getting Suzanne to do more of the talking. All right, so we hit intake. So that's your favorite, and that's definitely, so when people, you have to get the book. Where's the camera? Here's the book, and you have to get partway through. Like you have to get to page 65, and integrity is on page 65. So I think Gordon's on. He's letting us know who's watching. So it looks like On is on, and maybe Ernest. I know Patricia was on. Now you know Patricia quite well, right? Do we want to have can we talk a little bit of? I should invite Patricia on here. Patricia, I'll put the link in here, and if Patricia actually wants to, we won't talk about her yet, but we'll put the link in here. I'm not sure where Patricia is tonight, but
he's a rock star. He's a rock star.
She is a rock star. She is. So I've shared the link there. So if anyone, we have an empty seat. If Gordon wants to come on, Patricia, I'm not sure if Patricia's been on Be Live before, but if she wants to join us, she's welcome to hop on and we can talk. But maybe I'll ask you to share us about. I don't know if what I can say about Patricia, but she's a good friend of yours. So do you want to share a little bit about Patricia? Are you allowed to, that whole coaching thing? Are you allowed to talk about clients? Testimonials. It's better if it comes from her, but
it would be brilliant if it comes from Patricia. But I think the
what'd she say? She said she's too shy to come on. What'd she say?
No,
hello, Susan.
I didn't see. I didn't see it all.
She's having a hearing issue. My ear popped. Okay, so she says yes. So all Patricia has to do is, Patricia, you just have to click. She can talk about me. It's better if you come and talk about her. We don't want to talk about you. But hey, let's do a quick. Let's give her a slight bribe to say, hey, Patricia, if you come on my third seat, we'll do a little promo for your work that you're doing in Kingston. Side of my face is frozen. Side of your face is frozen. Well, my arms and feet are red, and I'm still on Be Live. Okay, let's give a quick comment of how amazing Patricia is. Patricia Lynn, one of the directors. I'm not even sure of it's a women's shelter in Kingston. They're actually building a house. I'm not even sure what the name of it is. That's why, Patricia, you should be on here to give all of the correct details. I only know the amazing work that you're doing. You had a truckload of donations you were picking up. It's more than just a shelter, but it's actually permanent and temporary housing for women and their families to get them, off the street, out of bad situations. It's called the Dawn House. Look at that. Patricia, thank you. So she'll keep me straight on and they're actually building this. They're actually raising funds, getting donations. They're actually building this in a wellness center. They're going to have some meeting space, and I'm gonna guess it's going to become a gathering place as well in Kingston for the community, and we'll have 16 space for 16 women. So this is the type of people that I love that we get to meet and work with, that you get to work with. And this was, it loops back around to your background, Suzanne, from what you've done in the past and now working with clients who are in a similar space. So, okay, enough of me talking. It was me trying to tell what Patricia does because she doesn't want to come on and talk about herself. Next time we'll get her on here. She's going to I'm going to push her between her and her husband to come on as guests to Comm Cafe formally. So,
there you go.
Podcast. Okay. So example, Patricia is the type. So I know Patricia came to our last Monetize Me. So this is a good segue into our upcoming event, July 13th. Myself, people say, what's with you? Me, your event. Well, me as a certified partner, Goodman, helping to spread the great word about the event that's coming up on July 13th here in Toronto, called Monetize Me. It's an event, 3 fantastic game changer, powerful women at the front of the room on the stage. Miss Randy Goodman, founder of Toronto Women's Expo and the Empowering Women to Succeed franchise. Mrs. Shireen Francis, the founder of, she's coaching, getting out of the 9 to 5, the founder and the host of the Shireen Francis Leap TV that aired, I think, were you on this morning?
I was.
Oh, wow. Look at that. I am in the presence of TV celebrity now. So I know you and Greg Turner were on this morning's episode on Leap TV on Rogers. So Shireen's is the second, and then you.
Yeah.
Suzan Hart, 7-figure earner, coaching. What is your coaching what's the name of your coaching program?
My coaching program is called Fit, Fab, and Fulfilled. To get fit, feel fabulous, and live a fulfilled and extraordinary life.
And let me tell people, Suzan has the credibility and the experience and the background to do that, because people won't believe it. Well, I know you're not supposed to tell the age of women, so I won't tell people how old you are. But let's just say you had a milestone birthday a while ago, and you are in the best shape of your life, and living life and do it, and now working with clients and being the example that you are. All right, July 13th. Gordon's going to yell at me here because I've been doing too much talking. All right, July 13th, Monetize Me, full day into the evening, masterminding, a full day event. July 1st, Canada Day special, early bird special coming up this week. Why should people be there? Two reasons.
Well, Randy Goodman, Shireen Francis, and myself, and I got to tell you, what's beautiful about it is I was so excited to collaborate with these 2 women because I got to learn, right? So I got to learn from Randy's brilliance. I got to learn from Shireen, and there was things that Shireen knew that I was just like, wow, okay. So if you can imagine, best-selling author Randy Goodman, you get to hear from her not only how to write a book, how to how to pull it together, how to get it published, and she's a best-selling author, not 1 time, not 2 times, 3+ times. So she's going to give everyone the goods. You're going to get to work with her and get some structure around how to write a book. Then she throws it to me, and I actually help you figure out what is that story that you want to tell that has you earned the right to sit in front of clients, because we all have a story that builds and gives us credibility. So we're going to pull that story out of you. But not only are we going to pull that story out of you, we're going to actually teach you how to tell a story that inspires people to take action, inspires people to work with you, and actually shows the teachings that are and the lessons that live within your story. And so we're going to help you become comfortable in front of the room. We're going to help you move and inspire people in front of the room. We're going to help you master and run a room. I always talk about you got to own the space in the room. It's your space. So we're going to begin to show people how to do those things. And then Shireen is going to take it and she's going to do the digital marketing. Imagine, your brand being out there on the internet, on Facebook, and in a powerful way where you're attracting more leads, you're attracting more clients. And so we're going from book to speaking to digital in terms of videos. And we're going to show people how to make that transition. And we end the day with a powerful mastermind. And what was brilliant about the mastermind that we did was that people got first to ask questions about, and clarify what they learned throughout the day. But I think that the second thing was they also got to talk through some of those things that were standing in their way. There's this term, get out of your own way. And sometimes you can't see the picture if you can't see the frame if you are the picture, if you can't see it, right? So we were helping people begin to look at things a little bit different, change their perspectives on things so that they could actually just have a new perspective on something they were doing day in, day out. And so it was moving. People shared. There were tears. There was excitement. There was breakthroughs. And I felt totally blessed to be part of this process. And for me, a good day is always when I learn, right? I'm one of the trainers, but if I walk away totally inspired, if I walk away full of new lessons, new learnings, that's a brilliant day. And I walked away full. I walked away with new lessons. I learned from Randy. I learned from Shireen. And I also learned from the guests in the room because we facilitated a process where people began to contribute. And we actually created an environment where the energy was high, the contribution was high, the discussions were powerful, and people were learning and contributing to each other. So it was a brilliant day. So I would say that this day is for anyone who believes they have a story, they have a message that they want to tell. And you might be that person who's shy, and that was me. If someone told me 10 years ago that I would be speaking in front of thousands of people, I would say, I don't know what you've been smoking or drinking, but that's never going to happen. But it was working with great mentors, David Wood, I've done some peak stuff in terms of speaking, just working with mentor after mentor after mentor and investing myself that had me become comfortable in front of the room. So this is for you if you have a message, but you haven't yet been able to step in front of the room or express it in a book. So this is for you. This is for you if you are the person who's clear that you have a message, but you haven't been able to package it and deliver it in a way you want to. This could also be for you if you already have a book, you already have a business, but you want to make sure that your messaging is clear and it reflects your brand. And this is for you if you want to touch people, you want to inspire people, you want to move them, and you want to be a change in the world. It's definitely for you. What I do know is every single person listening has a story. And every story has a lesson. And whatever lesson you are meant to teach or meant to deliver, only you can bring that to the world. So we're inviting people to come down and work with us and have fun and enjoy it and be able to pull that lesson, that message, that story out of you. So it's going to be a brilliant day. Brilliant. Can you tell I'm just a little excited?
Just a little pump, And now what I've done is in the comment section, I've shared a link so that people can hop on there and get their early bird ticket. And when you talk about, that day we talked about what type of room do you want to be in? Do you want to be in the room where you're the smartest person in the room, or do you want to be a room where, there's other smart people, smarter people than you in the room? And I'll speak for me personally. I can't speak about you because you are a smart woman. 7 years of degrees and you're a smart woman. So I just know from mine, and I can now talk a little bit about you, because I sat in on your session and I filled my notebook about 3 pages of notes in my notebook, and you shared some fantastic things about this storytelling, owning the room, and just the experience that you have this is, I'll share a little bit because people don't like to talk about themselves, but I know you're okay talking about that. You, like I, have spent money on personal development. You've gone a step further. You've gotten trained by, you've gone to Chicago with James Dentley. You've worked with Bill Walsh. You've done stuff with Peaks. You're speaking in Atlanta. You've paid your money to get trained by professionals and experts and leaders. And now you're working with Gordon, Randy, Shireen to bring that resource back to the people here in the GTA to say, listen, you don't have to go to LA, you don't have to go to Chicago. You can come right to Vaughan. Yes, the very exciting Vaughan, and get fantastic training from people from three amazing women who have put their time in personal development, getting trained to be at the front of the room, and now have big hearts and just and want to share from in a safe. And then the last part is it's a safe environment that it's not just for women, men can come, but it is a very safe environment. So people, people are sharing, but it's an environment that people aren't going to be threatened. It's not, because there are some very personal stories that people do share or can come out in it because it's that moving, that experience that day. So I want to, congratulate the three of you on the first fantastic Monetize Me event. And one last tip is that I know a number of people here in Toronto have come to our events and they've seen Byron Nelson speak and come to the evening sessions with Byron, and we jokes about bringing your sleeping bag. I think people, because we didn't do it last time, but I think on July 13th, I don't know if Gordon's still watching, that he made a comment that, people should maybe bring their sleeping bags, because we were there, we stayed late. Like, the lights don't turn off at 10 o'clock. Like, the event says it stops at 10. They don't turn the lights off and no one kicks you out. So I'm going to challenge people I want someone to actually, maybe Patricia, because she comes all the way in from Kingston. So again, if people say, oh, I have to travel, like Patricia came in from Kingston, people have come in from Hamilton, people are coming in from Kitchener-Waterloo. This isn't just a Toronto thing. This is people in Ontario traveling, getting out of their own excuses, hopping in the car, bringing their friends, and coming to the event. So if you live in Kingston or if you live in Hamilton, carpool, throw some people in the car, make it a day, come, bring a sleeping bag if you need to, because the mastermind session may run late. Because there's so much sharing that we just don't want to stop. And you guys, and the three of you, did some amazing coaching that night, in that everyone got around to asking questions, and you're right, asking questions about their business. And that was the first time for me to get to see you do your on-the-spot coaching. And I will compliment you that I don't think Mr. Nelson's listening, but you are equally or better than Mr. Byron Nelson in your on your spot coaching, because again, your experience is different than his. So each coach works off of their experience and the experiences that you've had in the space that you've worked in, Suzanne, and the on-the-spot coaching that you were able to do that night was amazing and moving. So that's my testimony of why people need to be there on July 13th.
Well, I remind people that I come from a counseling background, and I wasn't one of the counselors that sat in the cozy office. I was a counselor that went into the homes, went into the streets, and did the on-the-spot crisis stuff. And when you're able to do that, it's a special gift. And I've been blessed to be mentored and supervised by some extraordinary people around my counseling and coaching skill sets. So there's that. But the one thing I want to highlight is investing in yourself. And you're absolutely right. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars, honing my craft and mentoring with people. And so, I have been blessed to mentor with David Wood, and I can't say enough about, the capabilities of this gentleman. I have been mentored with Les Brown. I've done Peaks. I've done something with Joel Roberts, and Joel Roberts is like the best kept secret out there. Very few people know about him, but he is the master of learning how to tell your story. The list goes on and on. Nikki Kehoe. It goes on. And why? Because I truly believe that if I'm going to do something, my mentor, George Fraser, I've also worked with George around my speaking and all those, and that structure. And George says that if you're going to do something, you want to pursue excellence, right? and you want to become the best at what you do. And so for me, I think that's really true. And the only way you can do that is you need to partner and work with great mentors so they can pour into you. And it's an investment in yourself, but that investment will pay off, 20 folds, 30 folds. You won't even expect what your return is. So if you want to be a change and you want to be excellent in your space, I believe that, your ability to communicate clearly, whether that be writing a story, telling a story, writing a book, which gives you instant credibility, being able to articulate that and then put it online in the most brilliant way, as Miss Shireen Francis does. It's a package, and it reflects your brand, right? And we speak things into the world, and you want to make sure that whatever you're speaking into the world is a total reflection of who you are.
Okay, I'm back. I'm getting to be the producer in the. So when you're given that wisdom, I just put the screen just all on you. That way I can sit back and just close my eyes and soak it all in. So thank you so much. And one last reason, I know some people say, well, I'm in that, I'm in the space of, I'm in that, not the spiritual piece. I guess it can be spirituality piece, but the piece of coming from a nonprofit, and then what you did, one coaching session that night where people that are in that, in the wellness space or working, and it's about how do you getting over asking for money for your services, that piece that you do. So I don't know how to word it. I'm not the wordsmith today, but do you remember what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. I think
how can you, without me having to ask you the question, you know what the question should be. So people working in that space, one of the things that why people in that space about struggling with trying to figure out how do I charge money for my services, I guess is the space. Mm-hmm. And why the benefit for people to come out on July 13th if you're in that space, because just that one session that evening was amazing about just the barrier or that mindset or that struggle that people have about charging for their services. So
absolutely, particularly if you come from a nonprofit background, the culture of that background is to give things away for free, right? To be totally of service. And so I remember when I stepped into entrepreneurship and having worked in a nonprofit background, I was actually okay with asking for money. So I thought. But what I ran up against was a culture that said, no, that's not okay. And to actually get past that was years of programming, years of my I was faced with my beliefs around money. I was faced with my beliefs around asking. I was faced with my beliefs around deserving. I was faced with all these different things that I actually didn't know exist. So part of it is that one of the things that we talk through was how our conditioning around money, or T. Harv Eker says your thermostat, wherever it's set around money, how that keeps us exactly where we need to be. And it is really beginning to shift our relationship to money, how we see money, how we talk about money, our beliefs around money that allows us to begin to ask, right? So we talk through a lot of that night in the mastermind. And I think, and also gave people to permission to really understand where they were sitting, and that it is a process, it's a transition, and that's the work, right? It's when we talk about personal development and personal growth, it is really having insights and looking at those conditionings that we walk with over time, whether it be money, whether it be sales, whether it be entrepreneurship and business. All those conditionings, if we're not able to unpack them and talk through them, oftentimes people stay stuck. I was talking to a friend, and her one of her parents had a business, and her memory was working hard in feast and famine. And so you imagine if someone's trying to start a business and your conditioning is, if I go into business, I'm going to work really hard and it's going to be feast or famine. It becomes hard because that's the conditioning, that's her conditioning. And so it really begins to talk through that and shift and have a new idea of what entrepreneurship can look at, so she could actually step into it with ease. So we talked through all those wonderful things, and the mastermind was brilliant. It was a contribution of everybody in the room.
Okay. All right. We said we were going to talk for 20 minutes. It's actually 25 after 8. That's the standard protocol for Comm Cafe. We get guests on, we have interactions online, and my guests have a wealth, a fountain of things that they just want to share and open. And people, and this is a quick tip for anyone. It's like, why give so much away? And it's like it's for us to, it's our knowledge to give away. We're a disservice to ourselves if I have knowledge that I don't share, and if there's people out there that need to know stuff that I need to know, that hey, just call me. If there's knowledge that Suzanne needs to hear, here really quick, I've shared the link for July 13th on the comments. But how can people connect with you if they love what they heard tonight and they don't even want to wait till July 13th? They want to reach out and hear more from you before even July 13th happens. So how can people find Suzan Hart? I know there's a website. Where can they get you?
SuzanHart.com. Pretty simple. And Suzan is Suzan and Hart is HART.com. You can find me on Facebook as Suzan Hart. Yeah. That's the best ways to find me, SuzanHart.com, and hit me up on Facebook, private message me. I'm always open to chatting with anyone who's about growth and learning and transformation. So absolutely. All
right. Thank you so much for coming on Comm Cafe. I think I see that piece of art hanging behind you again on the wall. Is that the same piece?
It is, absolutely. It is my my gift from Toronto Women's Expo.
Yeah, it was. And I'll give a quick shout out to my friend Ari at Pix Alive, because he was one of our vendors at that event, and he gifted the speakers, and you were one of the speakers that day, and he gave you as a gift a fantastic print of the Toronto City line. So
I get nothing but beautiful comments when people see it. They're like, "Wow!" So.
Mm-hmm. It's great. The perks of being as a speaker, and when you're a speaker, you get gifts, and that's the great thing about the work that you put in to be at the front of the stage. So thank you so much for coming on Comm Cafe. I need to run. I know you need to go do something. It's your Sunday. I want to thank you so much for sharing an hour of your Sunday here on Comm Cafe, sharing your words of wisdom, and our whole goal is just for people to actually and hear it from the source as to why they need to be out with us on July 13th for the second version of Monetize Me. So run. Actually, you don't even have to run. You just have to click, sign up, get your tickets at 50% off, $97, people, $97, including lunch, a hot, amazing lunch. I'm sure there's going to be other things there. There's coffee. There's all kinds of snacks. 9 to at least 5, and then a break, and then an evening session from like 7 to 10. I don't know where people can get that much content and like on this like stuff you're going to take away that day to change your life and change your business for $97 Canadian. Not even US, 97 Canadian dollars.
So if you're in the US, come on over, because it's
a day trip. It's a day trip, like just really from Buffalo, New York. That's what we say. Oh, it doesn't have to be just Toronto. Like I'm waiting for actually someone to hop in the car and do the trek over from. You have a number of colleagues in the US, so I think people are going to start to carpool across the border. And we're going to actually start a wave of personal development coming north of the border. Enough of this going south of the border. I did it. You did it. A number of people did the south of the border migration. We're going to start the north of the border migration to come to Toronto to monetize me for the new version of personal and professional development. Thank you again, Suzanne. I look forward to seeing you in person again on July 13th. In the meantime, it was a pleasure having you on Comm Cafe.
Thank you, Dwayne. Look forward to connecting with you. Take care.
Thank you. And just